All right, let's talk Duolingo. They just had an absolutely monster quarter. And in their latest shareholder letter, they didn't just reveal what they did, they laid out a major shift in how they're planning to grow from here on out. So today, we're going to break down that story. Okay, so let's just kick things off with the one number that tells the biggest story. For the very first time, Duolingo has crossed this massive, massive milestone. A whopping 50.5 million people are now using the app every single day. So you hear a big user number like that and you think, okay, great, but what does that actually mean for the business? Well, let's take a look at the scorecard. And wow, look at the scale of that jump. We're not talking about a small bump here. This is a massive 36% increase from last year. I mean, to put that into perspective, they added over 13 million new daily users in just 12 months. That's huge. And of course, that surge in users, it directly fuels the business. Revenue absolutely shot up, an incredible 41%, hitting over $271 million just for the quarter. It's a really clear formula, right? More daily users equals more money. Simple as that. So where's all that revenue coming from? Well, the main engine is paid subscriptions. And that number, it also saw a huge leap. We're talking a 34% jump to almost 12 million people paying for the service around the world. Just incredible. Okay, so those numbers are, seriously impressive, but it begs the question, how in the world did they pull it off? Let's dive into their playbook and see what actually fueled this incredible quarter. Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was this really smart mix of tactics. For starters, they added new content. And get this, chess became their fastest growing subject. Who knew? Then they did this massive brand partnership in Asia with Luckin Coffee. We're talking over 10 million Duolingo drinks sold. And on top of that, they rolled out this new integration with LinkedIn so you can actually show off your language scores on your professional profile. Pretty cool. But here's where it gets really interesting. For all that success, the company actually pointed out that growth was a little slower this quarter than the last one. And the reason they gave is fascinating. They deliberately changed up their famous social media strategy, posting less of what they call their unhinged content. So that just makes you ask, right? What on earth is unhinged content? Now, if you've seen their TikTok, you probably already have a pretty good idea. Yeah, it's basically their nickname for their totally wild and, let's be honest, often bizarre TikTok strategy. You've probably seen it. It's their mascot, Duo the Owl, getting into all sorts of strange, hilarious situations. They actually toned it down for a bit this quarter because of some community feedback, and that's what explains that slightly slower growth. But don't worry, they've already said they're ramping it back up. Okay, but the TikTok stuff is just one piece of the puzzle. The real story this quarter, the big takeaway, isn't just about marketing. It's about something much deeper. A really fascinating fundamental shift in their core strategy. And it all comes down to this one key principle they have. Take the long view. And this quarter, that wasn't just some nice-sounding phrase on a poster. It became the guiding force behind a major pivot in how they run the whole company. So the CEO, Luis van Aan, he laid it out like this. Imagine you're at a control panel and you've got three main levers. The first one is monetization. Pull that, you see results right away. The second is user growth. That one takes a little longer to kick in. And then there's the third lever, teaching better. Now that one is the most powerful of all, but it also takes the longest time to really pay off. And this is the crucial part. This quarter, they made a very conscious choice to shift that balance. They deliberately decided to put more of their energy into those long-term levers, growing the user base and improving the teaching quality, even if it meant taking their foot off the gas a little bit when it comes to immediate monetization. It's a classic strategic trade-off, really. So you've got to ask, why make that trade-off now? What changed? And the answer comes down to just two letters, AI. The CEO was super clear about this. They are more and more convinced that artificial intelligence can completely change what's possible in education. They see it as the absolute key to everything in the long run. And look, this long-term AI-focused vision, it's not just talk. It's not some far-off dream. It is already shaping what you and I are going to see in the app, like very, very soon. So what does that actually mean for us, the people using the app? Well, in the very near future, you should get ready for a whole bunch of new stuff. We're talking a player versus player mode for chess, so you can go head-to-head, new flashcard exercises to really help you nail down words, and these guided video calls which are all about getting more people to try out their super-powered AI-driven Max subscription. And all of these new things, they're not random. They all connect back to one single, frankly, incredibly ambitious goal. They want to build an app that's not just more engaging, but that actually teaches as well as a real, live, personal tutor.
I mean, think about that. Duolingo is basically betting its entire future that the answer to that is yes. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question, one that goes way beyond just this one company and touches on the future of learning itself. Can an AI really become the teacher for billions of people? That is the billion user question, isn't it?